Hello and welcome to this continuing first look exploring session looking at Dick of Devonshire, a play with no particularly firm attribution from the mid 1620s, reacting to a pamphlet written the previous year. In fact, as far as we can tell, it's copying wholesale, quite large chunks of it. You never know; you might be lucky. We might get around to looking at it later. And we have sourced it, so it's something we might do. But yes, it's most of the time it's a sort of rollicking wartime yarn, apart from a really unpleasant scene that we had last session. So do check the content warnings. I don't know what potential horribleness may turn up this time beyond genuine jingoism. I think the jingoism siren should be just going off there. But otherwise, we're going to find out what happens in Act 3 and 4. So, reading today, wonderful set of readers. We have reading Fernando, Jewell, and Friar number 1 is.
Honoured in the sunny uplands of Northamptonshire.
Reading Bustamente, Secretary Catelina, Manuell, Friar number 2, and Picaro number 2 is.
Sarah in The Hague.
Reading Woodrow, Alquevezzes, Medina, and Tiago is.
Aliki in the bustling metropolis of Athens.
Reading Hill and Macada is.
Hi, it's Greg near Stratford-on-Avon.
Reading Dick and Gusman is.
I'm Simon Nader in Dublin, currently regretting having just roasted fennel because it's all I can smell.
Sadly, it doesn't travel across the internet. Reading Teniente, Eleonora, and Picaro number 3 is.
Hi, I'm Eric. I'm here also in Athens, but on the other end of it. I think, maybe. We are not in the same building, certainly.
No. Or are you? Reading John, Captain Henrico, and Picaro number 1 is.
Alan in Suffolk.
And reading Jailor, Buzzano, and Gentlewoman is.
Lois in London.
And I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I'll be reading stage directions. I may also read in a clerk towards the end of the act. Aren't I lucky? Or more importantly, aren't you lucky? Reading Act 3, Scene 1, we have enter Captain, Hill, Secretary, and Jewell.
A general yet showed himself right noble in offering ransom for poor Captain Pike.
So largely too as he did, Captain.
If any reasonable price would have been accepted, it had been given, Mr. Secretary, I assure you.
I can testify that on our return, in our general's name and my own, I made the large offer to the Teniente, who will by no means render him. Sure they hold him for some great noble purchase.
A baronet at least. One of the lusty blood, Captain.
Or perhaps, Mr. Secretary, some remarkable Commonwealth man, a politician in government.
'Twere a weak state body that could not spare such members. Alas, poor Pike. I think thy pate holds no more policy than a poleaxe.
Who is more expert in any quality than he that has it at his fingers' ends? And if he have more policy in his brains than dirt under his nails, I'll ne'er give 2 groats for a calf's head. But without a question, he hath done some excellent piece of villainy among the Diegos, or else they take him for a fatter sheep to kill than he is.
Well, gentlemen, we can all but condole the loss of him, and though all that we all come hither for be not worth him, yet we must be content to leave him. The fleet is ready, the wind fair, and we must expect him no longer.
He was a true Devonshire blade.
My countryman, sir. Therefore would I have given the price of 100 of the best Toledos, rather than hear the miss of him at home, complained by his wife and children.
Your tenderness becomes you, sir, but not the time, which wafts us hence to shun a greater danger.
And exeunt. So the English are buggering off. Basically. Well, we sort of tried. Did we try to... Well, we tried a bit. They weren't keen. Oh, well. Such a shame. What a guy, though. You know, what a guy. It's just this constant what a guying thing for Dick. all the way there. So it feels like there's definitely an interval logic in this play between acts, that there is a bit of trimming of candles. There was a hint of that in between Act 1 and Act 2, that there was a mention of soft music, which presumably is effectively the generic interval music that's going on while they're doing their business before the cue for alarms, etc. So this is perhaps that hint of just reminding everyone this is where we are in the plot, sense, just to key us in to the scene that's going to follow. So it's very much a setting up scene for the scene, because we're going to have Dick next. Any thoughts? Anyone wants to throw in on what a guy? What a guy. Okay, no. Act 3, Scene 2 then. Enter Dick Pike in shackles, nightcap, plasters on his face, and a jailer.
The fleet is gone, and I have now no hope of liberty. Yet I am well refreshed in the care hath been taken for my cure. But was ever English horse thus Spanish bitted and bossed?
Sir, the care of your keeper, by whom this ease hath been procured, requires remuneration.
Here is for you, my friend.
I assure you, the best surgeons this part of Spain affords, through my care taken of you, and you may thank me.
What an arrogant rascal's this! Sir, I thought my thanks herein had chiefly appertained to the humanity of the governor, and that your especial care had been in providing these necessary shackles to keep me from running into further danger. These I took to be the strong bonds of your friendship.
Sir, I hope they fit you as well as if they had been made for you. Oh, I am so much your servant that I do wish 'em stronger for your sake.
'Tis over well as it is, sir.
You are most courteous.
Exit jailer.
The precious rogue. If the jailers be so pregnant, what is the hangman trow? By the time my misery hath brought me to climb to his acquaintance, I shall find a friend to the last gasp. What's here? A lady? Are the women so cruel here to insult o'er the captive wretches?
Indeed, enter Catelina and Jailor.
Is this the English prisoner?
Yes, madam.
Trust me, a goodly person.
She eyes me wistly. Sure she comes not to instruct herself in the art of painting by the patterns of my face.
Sir, shall I speak with you?
Yes, lady, so you will not mock me.
Indeed I cannot, but must needs acknowledge myself beholding to you.
This I must bear. I will do so and court my sweet affliction.
Will you hear me, sir? I am the lady.
Yes, I do hear you say you are the lady, but let me tell you, madam, that ladies, though they should have tenderest sense of honour and all virtuous goodness, and so resemble goddesses as well as in soul as feature, do often prove dissemblers, and in their seemly breasts bear cruelty and mischief. If you be one of those, oh, be converted, return from whence you came, and know 'tis irreligious, nay devilish, to tread and triumph over misery.
How well he speaks, yet in the sense bewraying a sense distracted. Sure his captivity, his wounds, and hard entreaty make him frantic. Pray, hear me, sir, and in 2 words I'll tell you enough to win belief. I am the lady of the knight vanquished by you, Don John.
You have said enough, indeed. Pity of heaven, what new invented cruelty is this? Was not enough that by his ruthless baseness I had these wounds inflicted, but I must be tortured with his wife's unjust rejoicings. 'Twas well his politic fear, which durst not come to glory in his handiwork himself, could send your privileged ladyship.
Indeed, you much mistake me. As I live, as I hope for mercy and for afterlife, I come for nothing but to offer thanks unto your goodness, by whose manly temper my lord and husband reassumed his life, and ask your Christian pardon for the wrong which by your suffering now pleads him guilty. Good sir, let no mistrust of my just purpose cross your affection. Did you know my love to honour and to honest actions, you would not then reject my gratulations. And since that deeds do best declare our meaning, I pray, accept of this money, and these clothes, and my request unto your keeper for best meats and wines that are agreeable to your health and taste. And, honest friend, thou know'st and darest, I hope, believe me, I will see thee paid for all.
Yes, my good lady. Lo you, sir, you see still how my care provides your good. You may suppose the governor's humanity takes care for you in this too.
Excellent lady, I do now believe virtue and women are grown friends again.
Enter Don John.
What magical illusion's this? 'Tis she. Confusion sees your charitable blindness. You a prison visitor for this, to cherish my dishonour for your merit.
My lord, I hope my charity works for your honour, relieving him whose mercy spared your life.
But that I'm subject to the law, and know my blows are mortal, I would strike thee dead. Ignoble and degenerate from Spanish blood, darest thou maintain this to be charity? Thy strumpet itch and treason to my bed, thou seekst to act in cherishing this villain.
Saints be my witnesses, you do me wrong.
Thou robst my honour.
You wound her honour, and you rob yourself and me and all good Christians by this outrage.
Do you prate, sir?
Sir, I may speak. My tongue's unshackled yet, and were my hands and feet so on free ground, I would maintain the honour of this lady against an host of such ignoble husbands.
You are condemned already by the law, I make no doubt, and therefore speak your pleasure.
Enter Fernando, Teniente, and guard.
And here come those for whom my rage is silent.
Deliver up your prisoner to the Teniente. I need not, sir, instruct you in your place to bear him with a guard, as is appointed until the public trial held at Sherry's.
Shall be done.
How long hath he been your prisoner?
18 days.
You and the surgeons out of the king's pay I'll see discharged. You have, according to the order conveyed already, Bustamente thither. Yield account for yielding up the castle.
It's done, my lord.
Don John, you likewise, in his majesty's name, stand charged to make your personal appearance to give in evidence against this prisoner.
Are we ready there, my lord?
To Sherry's, they say the best sack's there. I mean to take one draught of dying comfort.
I hope he'll not deny my company to wait on you to Sherry's.
No, you shall go see your friend here, their totter.
I have a suit, my lord, to see an Englishman, a merchant, prisoner here, before I go.
Call him. With that done, you know your charge.
Exit Jailor.
Shall perform it.
Exeunt Fernando, John, Catelina. Enter Jailor and Woodrow.
Oh, Mr. Woodrow, I must now take leave of prison fellowship with you. Your fortunes may call you into England after payment of some few money debts, but I am called into a further trial. My debt is life, which if they take not by extortion, I mean by tortures, I shall gladly pay it.
I have heard, and thought you by what I had heard free from fear's passion. Still continue so, depending on heaven's mercy.
You do instruct me well. But, worthy countrymen, once more let me give you this to remember, and 'tis my last request, that when your better stars shall guide you into England, you'll be pleased to take my country Devonshire in your way, where you may find in Tavistock, whom I left, my wife and children wretched in my misfortunes. Commend me to them, tell them and my friends that if I be, as I suspect I shall be, at Sherris put to death, I died a Christian soldier, no way, I hope, offending my just king, nor my religion, but the Spanish laws.
And they exit. Again, this is what a guy. He's there. He's even the wife of Don John likes it. It's like the only person in this play who doesn't like him is frankly just John John. It's just going, oh, you rubbed me on my honor. Oh, you caught me. Oh, grr, arg. And actually, that's one thing in the defense of the play is that actually it's not all of those dastardly Spaniards are all dastardly. Actually, a lot of them are very reasonable chaps, and I like the way the jailer, says, he comes in saying how good the doctoring they've got in this jail. They say, yes, thank you. Here's the receipt. If you could just pay, chip and pin will be fine. And you're sort of going, there's no National Health Service here, is there? No, that's. So yeah, there's lots of interesting things in this scene and lots of little back and forths I'm quite liking. I think we should probably just clear up because we haven't really discussed this. I think we put it in the chat. What they're talking about when they're constantly talking about Sherry's. Lois.
Yeah, I did put it in the chat yesterday. Actually, I mean it's Jerez, I think, and I think that's how it's supposed to be pronounced. I was trying to figure out how you got from Jerez to Sherry's, but anyway.
The root of a very laboured pun.
Well, I mean, the drink sherry comes from Jerez, so it must be some kind of easy mispronunciation.
Yeah, and again, on an early modern pronunciation as well. Yeah, there's a shift in time.
Was that, sorry to jump, I was going to say, was that maybe that wasn't a contemporary pronunciation, an English pronunciation of Jerez, was it, to make it more palatable?
It may say that may be how it was said then. Basically, that may be a clued pronunciation.
Is a really difficult sound for English speakers, so I can see them coming up with.
Yeah, Donald.
It may of course be just an English stubborn refusal to pronounce any foreign word correctly.
I don't know what you mean. I don't. I just don't understand what you're possibly talking about.
Yeah. Sack is sometimes called, I think, Sherry's sack. Sherry's sack. So yeah, it's probably Sherry's, yeah.
But he has a chat with Woodrow before he goes, and just send. And I suspect, as I say, when we get around to looking at the pamphlet, that this is going to be one of those little details in the thing. I don't think Woodrow is going to feature prominently in the rest of the text. He's just there because he was there. Lois.
Yeah, I'm just going to say that I thought when Catelina appeared that we were going to get I think the same thing we got in Stukely, if I remember rightly. Stukely has a sort of brief affair with some Spanish lady, doesn't he? That I think she was Spanish, that meets him and falls in love with him. I mean, there is a ballad, isn't there? Have you heard of a Spanish lady, how she loved an Englishman? And it's always possible. It could still happen.
Oh, good. It's not me. It could still happen. Simon.
Sorry, if this came up yesterday, but I'll ask a question anyway. Was there a historical reference point for who Dick is based on? Did you get?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it Sir Francis Drake? No.
No. Dick. This thing we brought up briefly at the end. Basically, this is based on the personal reminiscences of Richard Pike, which was published in pamphlet form the year before this play went out. So, and I say we do have the pamphlet. We have tidied it up, and if we have time, we may look at. Maybe not the whole pamphlet, but we may skim through it at the end of the final session, or we may release it as a separate video, depending on if we have time to do it. But yeah, so Dick, if there's a reason why Dick is so great, there might be a reason why, and it might be because Dick wrote about his own adventures and therefore may be biased.
So like a celebrity autobiography.
Yeah,
excellent.
This is the adaptation of the celebrity autobiography. That's what it is. On that note, we have the plot potentially moving. I mean, they say there isn't really a plot. Some stuff. He's been captured. That's it. Okay, Act 3, Scene 3. Enter Don Pedro Gusman, reading a letter, and Manuell.
Dear sir, let me have power to recall your graver thoughts out of this violent storm of passion that thus overwhelms your mind. Remember what you are, and with what strength, what more than manly strength, you have outworn dangers of battle when your warlike looks have outfaced horror.
Oh, my son, my son. Horror itself upon the wings of death, stretched to the uttermost expansion over the wounded body of an army, could never carry an aspect like this. This murdering spectacle, this field of paper, stuck all with basilisk's eyes. Read but this word, the ravished Eleonora. Does not seem like a full cloud of blood ready to burst and fall upon our heads.
Indeed, you take too deep a sense of it.
What? When I see this meteor hanging o'er it, this prodigy in figure of a man, clad all in flames, with an inscription blazing on's head, Henrico the Ravisher.
Oh, good sir, avoid this passion.
In battles I have lost and seen the falls of many a right good soldier, but they fell like blessed grain that shot up into honour. But in this lewd exploit, I lose a son, and thou a brother. My Emmanuel, and our whole house the glory of her name, her beauteous name that never was disdained, is by this beastly fact made odious.
I pray, sir, be yourself, and let your judgment entertain reason. From whom came this letter?
From the sad plaintiff, Eleonora.
Good. And by the common post. You every week receiving letters from your noble friends, yet none of their papers can tell any such tidings.
All this may be too, sir.
Why is her father silent? Has she no kindred, no friend, no gentleman of note, no servant who she may trust to bring by word of mouth her dismal story?
No, perhaps she would not text up his name in proclamations.
Some villain hath filled up a cup of poison to infect the whole house of the Gusman family, and you are greedy as first to take it down.
That villain is thy brother?
Were you a stranger armed in the middle of a great battalion, and thus should dare to tax him, I would wave my weapon o'er my head to waft you forth to single combat. If you would not come, had I as many lives as I have hairs, I'd shoot him all away to force my passage through such a host until I met the traitor to my dear brother. Pray, do not think so, sir.
Not. When it shall be said one of our name, oh heaven, could I but say he were not my son, was so dishonourable, so sacrilegious to defile a temple of such a beauty and goodness as she was.
As beauteous is my brother in his soul as she can be.
Why dost thou take his part, sir?
Because no drop of honour falls from him, but I bleed with it. Why do I take his part? My sight is not so precious as my brother. My sight is not so precious as my brother. If there be any goodness in one man, he's lord of that. His virtues are full seas, which cast up to the shores of the base world all bodies thrown into them. He's no drunkard. I think he ne'er swore oath. To him, a woman was worse than any scorpion, till he cast his eye on Eleonora. And therefore, sir, I hope it is not so.
Was not she so?
I do not say, sir, that she was not so. Yet women are strange creatures. But my hope is that my brother was not so ignoble. Good sir, be not too credulous on a letter. Who knows but it was forged, sent by some foe, as the most virtuous ever have the most. I know my brother loved her honour so as wealth of kingdoms could not him entice to violate it, or his faith to her. Perhaps it is some quaint device of theirs to haste your journey homeward out of France, to terminate their long-desired marriage.
The language of her letter speaks no such comfort, but I will hasten home, and for you are so confident as not to think his honour any way touched, Your good hopes be your guide auspiciously to find it to your wish. Therefore, my counsel is you post before, and if you find that such a wrong be done, let such provision instantly be betwixt you made to hide it from the world by giving her due nuptial satisfaction, that I may hear no noise at my coming. Oh, to preserve the reputation of noble ancestry that ne'er bore stain, who would not pass through fire or dive the main.
And exeunt. Okay, so this is the subplot that we're not massively keen on. I mean, it's mostly context. I mean, there is something about the way the previous scene with Eleonora functioned and the way these people are talking themselves around to not believing her that is really believable. This is very well observed and really quite well written. It just doesn't fit the rest of the play, and it does feel like they've got the pamphlet with the exciting adventures, and then they've put this in as a B plot, and the two do not go together at all. They're deeply uncomfortable. But this situation where Gusman is believing and just can't believe what his son's done, and his other son is sitting there going, "No, I don't believe it, and I can't believe it because our reputation as a family cannot survive this kind of so we've got to not believe." And then he talks Gusman round by the end, and I can absolutely believe what's going on there about what they're saying about their brother and their son. Alan,
I think the way I heard it, Gusman does actually believe that the accusation has merit.
Oh yeah, no, he does. At the beginning, he is talked around by Manuell.
Manuell who's talking him round.
Yes, I thought I said that, but if I didn't, I apologize. No, they say that he is talked around by his son, who is much more and eventually, broadly speaking, lands there. I can very much believe that conversation. Other thoughts before we move on, Aliki?
Well, I mean, also the solution, which odd and unpleasant as it sounds to us, is a very common solution throughout history for sexual assault. Just marry her off to him and hush it up, and then no harm's done.
Because again, it's all about the appearance. It's all about the reputational damage. Let's just pretend it's not there and pretend the hurt does not exist. Lois.
Yeah, and a modern audience would certainly react to that bit where her brother, his brother, says women are strange creatures. Yeah, we thought she was virtuous, but well, women. I mean, you can imagine an audience reacting to that.
Yes, and in a sense, that's the case is that though I suspect the audience response or the intended audience response is different, the scene still functions in a very interesting way. And yeah, so I'm starting to think of there are two plays here, but they don't go together. And yeah, let's gather more data. I think we're sticking on this plot line for a while. Act 3, Scene 4. Enter Fernando and Eleonora.
Cease, Eleonora. Cease these needless plaints. Less useful than thy help at hands was it the deed of darkness. Oh, the blackest deed that ever o'erclouded my felicity. To speak or weep thy sorrow, but allays and quenches anger, which we must now cherish to further just revenge. How I could wish but to call back the strength of 20 years.
That I might be in that unborn again, sir.
No, Eleonora, that I was so enabled with my own hands to work out thy wrong upon that wretch, that villain, oh, that ravisher. But though my hands are palsied with rage, the law yet wears a sword in our defence.
Enter Henrico.
Away, my lord and father, see the monster approaching towards you. Who knows but now he purposeth an assassinate on your life, as he did lately on my virgin honor.
Fury, keep off me.
What life? What honour mean you, Eleonora? What's the matter? Who has lost anything?
That thou impudent as impious, I have lost.
Do you call me names?
The solace of my life, for which...
A fine new name from Maidenhead.
May all the curses of all injured women fall on thy head.
Would not the curses of all good ones serve? So many might perhaps be born, but pray, tell me what moves you thus? Why stand you so aloof, my lord? I do not love to be used like a stranger. Welcome's all I look for.
What boldness beyond madness gives him language? Nothing but well-bred stuff. To see my daughter and not be struck with horror at thy shame to the very heart. It's not enough, thou traitor, to my poor girl's dishonour to abuse her, but thou canst yet put on a devil's visor to face thy fact and glory in her woe.
I would I were acquainted with your honour's meaning all this while.
The foreign enemy which came to the city and twice danced on the sea before it, waving flags of defiance and of fury to it, were not before nor now this second time so cruel as thou. When they first were here, now well nigh 40 years since, and marched through the very heart of this place, trampled on the bosoms of our stoutest soldiers, the women yet were safe. Ladies were free, and that by the especial command of the then noble general. And now, being safe from common danger of our enemies, thou lion-like hast broke in on a lamb and preyed upon her.
How have I prayed?
Dost thou delight to hear it named, villain? Thou hast ravished her.
I'm enough abused, and now 'tis time to speak a little for myself, my lord. By all the vows, the oaths and imprecations that e'er were made, studied or practised, so I have a soul, as she and you have souls, I do not know, nor can, nor will confess any such thing. For all your circumventions, I'll answer all by law.
Oh, my lord, hear me by all that's good.
Peace, Eleonora. I have thought the course. If you dare justify the accusation, you shall to Sherry's, and then before the judges plead your own cause.
And there I'll answer it.
There, if you prove the rape, he shall be forced either to satisfy you by marriage, or else to lose his perjured head.
I'm content, and instantly I will away to Sherry's, there to appeal to the High Court of Justice. 'Tis time, I think, such slanderous accusations assailing me, but there I shall be righted.
You shall not need to doubt it. Come, Eleonora.
Exeunt Fernando and Eleonora.
What will become of me in this, I know not. I have a shrewd guess, though, of the worst. Would one have thought the foolish ape would put the finger in the eye and tell it daddy? 'Tis a rare gift among many maids of these days. If she speed well, she'll bring it to a custom, make her example follow to the spoil of much good sport. I mean to look to it. Now, sir, what's your news?
You indeed entered Buzzano.
Oh, the most delicious, rare, absolute news that e'er came out of France, sir.
What's done there? They've forsaken the devil and all his fashions, banished their tailors and tire women.
You had a father and a brother there, and can you first think upon the devil and his lime twigs?
Had Buzzano? Had a father and a brother there? Have I not so still, Buzzano?
No, sir. Your elder brother is...
What? Speak, Buzzano. I imagine dead?
Nay, you shall give me something by your leave. You shall pay the post. Good news for nothing?
Here, Buzzano. Speak quickly. Crown me the felicity of a younger brother. Is he dead, man?
No. He's come home. Very well, sir. Do you think I go on dead man's errands?
Oh, pox on the buzzard. How he startled my blood.
But he is very weary and very pensive. Sir talks not at all, but calls for his bed. Pray God your father be not dead, and desires when you come in to have you his bedfellow, for he hath private speech with ye.
Well, sir, you are so apt to take money for news. Beware how you reflect one word, syllable, or thought concerning Eleonora. You know what I mean?
Yes, and mean what you know, sir.
What's that?
I'll keep your counsel.
My life goes for it else.
And they exit. And once again, that sense of what Buzzano's doing here, because he's the only witness, and is being suborned, paid variously to keep his silence there. Again, in terms of this being a very believable situation, what we've got here is, again, the victim here is being sidelined. It's the sense that the father comes in making all these grand gestures, but immediately cutting her off when she wants to actually state an opinion. Again, that is not an unusual state of affairs. So you basically have two men squaring off there. Lois.
Yeah, one thing that looks a bit odd is the things that Henrico says to Eleonora. I think those they must all be talking privately. And then, because obviously if her father heard him saying all that, maidenhead, ho, ho, I mean, he would have to believe her.
Mm. Well, I don't think the father ever doubts it. I mean, to be fair.
No, but you would think that if Henrico knew that her father had heard him say something like, yeah, ha, ha, that's a funny name for a maidenhead, that he would take it as an admission. I mean, not that he does seem to believe her all the way, but then Henrico keeps going, but no, I am falsely accused. I would have never done that, which doesn't sit very well with him publicly having been so glibly unpleasant about maidenheads.
Yes, we don't have much data on asides. I have been adding them, but I didn't add any to that scene. So that's one to figure out where they live. Donald.
I was going to say, Fernando's reaction is he's deeply upset by the rape, but it's how it impacts on his presumably reputation and so on. It's almost as though he's avenging his own discomfort, that it's an inconvenience for him rather than for his daughter. At least that was the distinct impression I got when.
Yes, because when he says we will go to law, and she says and he goes no, that's what we're doing. She once again taking any kind of agency from her in this scene. Eric, you were waiting.
Well, also kind of the choices are either he will satisfy her by marriage or be decapitated, which is kind of, I mean, the range of punishment there is a bit like, I don't feel like he's being punished, so to speak. Maybe maybe the marriage bit, yeah. I mean the decapitation, yes, but like
I can go with the decapitation. Yeah. Again, that falling back to that old standard that we had in the previous scene, and that ends the act. Once again, there's clearly a mini interval because someone's exited and come straight back on again. Otherwise, so yeah. Let's go into Act 4 then. Act 4, Scene 1. Enter Henrico as newly risen.
Buzzano, slave! Buzzano!
Enter Buzzano with cloak and rapier.
Signor, what a buzzing you make, as if you were a fly at Bartholomew Tide at a butcher's stall. Do you think I'm deaf?
No, but blind to sleep as thou goest.
No, but I go as I sleep, and not scurvily.
Call my brother Manuell.
Brother Manuell!
Oh, pray, good man, a rascal, how long have he and you been brothers?
I know not, maybe ever since we were born, for your father used to come home to my mother, and why may not I be a chip of the same block out of which you two were cut? Mothers are short of their children, but no man is able to swear who was his father.
You are very lusty.
I ate eringos and poached eggs last night.
Go and call him.
What?
You hound, is he up?
No, he's in bed, and yet he may be up too. I'll go see.
Stay, and speak low. How now?
Buzzano falls down.
I can speak no lower unless I creep into the cellar.
I'm glad you are so merry, sir.
So am I. My heart is a fiddle. The strings are rosined with joy that my other young master is come home, and my tongue the stick that makes the fiddle squeak.
Come hither, leave your fooling, and tell me truly, did sleep tonight or no?
Sleep? Not that I remember. I'll swear, and my eyes should come out as two witnesses, that I ne'er slept worst. For what with your Spanish flies, the pocky stinging mosquitoes, and what with your skipjack fleas, the nap of my sleep was worn off.
Didst hear nothing?
Not in my sleep.
Collect thy senses. When wert thou awake, didst thou hear nothing?
Nothing.
'Twixt 12 and 1?
12 and 1. Then was I in my dead sleep, cursing the fleas.
Or about 1 and 2?
That's 3. Now, the beetle of my head beats it into my memory that as you and your brother Manuell lay in the high bed and I trundling underneath, I heard one of you talk most stigmatically in his sleep, most horriferously.
Right, now that comes to me. So did I.
And then, once or twice, the sleepy voice cried out, "Oh, it was I that murdered him. This hand killed him."
Art sure thou heardst this?
Am I sure these are my ears?
And darest thou swear thou heardst it?
Oh, lay down 20 oaths and see if I'll not take them.
And whose voice was it did appear to thee?
Whose voice was it? Well said, young master. Make an ass of your father's man.
Come, be serious. Whose voice?
Whose voice? Why then, if your windpipe were slit now and opened, there should the voice be found. I durst at midnight be sworn that the ghost of your voice appeared before me.
No, me it frighted too. Up stood my hair stiff and on end,
as a cat's does at sight of a dog.
Cold sweat purled in drops all o'er my body. 'Twas my brother's voice, and were I called before 1,000 judges, I must swear it could be no man's else.
Why then, I must swear so too.
It was I that murdered him. This hand killed him.
Buzzano!
He's up.
Buzzano!
I come.
Help to make him ready. Not a word on thy life.
Mum.
Exit Buzzano.
So let it work. Thus far my wills go true, because a captain, leading up his men in the proud van, has honour above them, and they, his vassals, as my elder brother, leave me a slave to the world. Why, forsooth? Because he got the start in my mother's belly to be before me there. All younger brothers must sit beneath the salt and take what dishes the elder shoves down to them. I do not like this kind of service. Could I, by this trick of a voice, counterfeited and confessing the murder of my father, truss up this yonker, and so make myself heir and a younger brother of him, for a good day's work? Were it not fine angling? Old line and sinker, I'll puzzle him.
Enter Manuell and Buzzano.
Morrow, brother.
No good morrow. You slept soundly?
Travellers that are weary have sleep led in a string.
So do those that are hanged. All that travel and are weary do not sleep.
Why, Mr. Buzzano? Why?
Midwives travel at night and are weary with eating groaning pies, and yet sleep not. Shall I hook you?
Hook me? What mean'st?
These tailors are the wittiest knaves that live by bread.
And why witty out of your wisdom?
In old time, gentlemen would call to their men and cry, "Come, trust me." Now the word is, "Come, hook me," for everybody now looks so narrowly to tailors' bills, some for very anger not paying them, that the needle lance knights, in revenge of those prying eyes, put so many hooks and eyes to every hose and doublets.
Well, sir, I'll not be hooked then now.
'Tis well if you be not.
Exit Buzzano.
France is an excellent country.
Oh, a brave one.
Your monsieur's great gallant sparks.
Sparks? Oh, sir, all fire. The soul of compliment, courtship, and fine language, witty and active, lovers of fair ladies, short nags and English mastiffs, proud, fantastic. Yet such a pride and such fantasticness, it so becomes them. Other nations, especially the English, hold themselves no perfect gentlemen till Frenchified.
Shush, England breeds more apes than Barbary. How chance my father came not home with you?
He was too hard tied by the leg with business.
What business?
'Tis but stepping into France, and he perhaps will tell you.
Perhaps. 'Tis well. What part of France did you leave him in?
What part? Why, I left him at Nancy in Lorraine. No, I lie. Now I remember me. 'Twas at Chalon in Burgundy.
Ada, a most loving child, that knows not where he left his father, and yet comes but now from him. Had you left in France your whore behind you, in your table books you had set down the street's very name. Yes, and the bawdy sign too.
You say well, sir, now you are up to the ears in bawdery. Pray, tell me one thing, brother. I am sorry to put forth such a question, but speak truly. Have you not, in my father's absence, done a piece of work? Not your best masterpiece, but such a one as on the house of Gusman will pluck a vengeance, and on the good old man, our noble father, heap such hills of sorrow to beat him into his grave?
What's this, your foolery?
Pray heaven it proves so. Have you not defaced that sweet and matchless goodness, Eleonora, Fernando's daughter?
Defaced her?
Hark, sir! Played Tarquin's part and ravished her.
'Tis a lie.
I hope so, too.
What villain speaks it?
One with so wide a throat that uttering it was heard in France. A letter, sir, informed my father so.
A letter? From whom?
A woman.
She's a whore.
'Twas Eleonora.
She's then a villainous strumpet, so to write, and you an ass, a coxcomb to believe it.
Nettled. Then let me tell you that I fear I shall forever blush when in my hearing any names Henrico Gusman for my brother. In right of virtue and a woman's honour, this dear wronged lady's, I dare call thee villain.
Villain?
They fight. Enter Fernando and attendants.
Part them, part them.
Let me see his heart, panting upon my weapon's point, then part us. I pray forbear the room.
5-5. 2 brothers, 2 eaglets of one noble eyrie, peck out each other's eyes. Welcome from France. How does your honoured father?
Well, my lord, I left him late in Paris.
So, in Paris, at the 3 bodies, Lorraine, Burgundy, and Paris. My lord, his highness puts into your hand a sword of justice. Draw it forth, I charge you, by the oath made to your king, to smite this traitor, the murderer of my father.
I?
Yes, thou, slave, hast been his executioner.
Where? When?
There, in France.
Oh, heavenly powers.
Tolerable villain, parricide, monster of mankind, Spaniard shame.
Pray, hear me. Are you in earnest?
Ernest?
Be advised.
Lay hold on him, the murderer of my father. I've armed proofs against him.
An armed devil, and that's thyself. Produce thy proofs.
I will, sir, but I will do it by law.
You are up already too deep, I fear, in law.
If you can, set then your foot upon my head and drown me your worst. Let me have justice here.
Well, sir, you shall. Manuell, I can no less than lay upon you the hand of my authority. In my carriage you shall with me to Sherry's, 3 leagues off, where the lords sit tomorrow. There you must answer this most unbrotherly accusation.
And prove him a false caitiff.
I will be both your guard, sir, and your bail, and make no doubt to free you from this viper.
Viper?
You are bound to appear at Sherry's, sir, and you had best not fail. I have a certain daughter there shall meet you. Come.
Exit Fernando, Manuell, and attendants.
Thither I dare you both, all 3. Buzzano!
Sir?
Saddle my jennet. I'll to Sherry's presently.
And I?
And you. But I must school you, sirrah.
And they exit. Everybody's going to Sherry's, where justice will be done. Did anyone else get that sort of sense from this whole scene of going, I kind of know what's going on, but I don't quite know what's going on? It was like, I dream, death, father, what, sir? It felt like a different hand. I don't know if I don't know how many hands are in this text, but I'm starting to think there might be 3 rather than just 2. Aliki, then Sarah.
So it felt to me as if somebody said, we haven't really had a lot of plot, have we? Let's get some plot in here really quickly, all in one long scene. I mean, I did wonder at the beginning when Buzzano came in with the message and there was this whole, what, is my brother dead? There was a sense that Henrico was disappointed his brother wasn't dead. But I thought, maybe I'm just making a monster of him because we know he's a rapist and makes horrible jokes about having raped people as well. But then clearly it wasn't. But the thing that I wanted to talk about a little bit is the comic dynamic between Henrico and Buzzano, which suddenly emerges as that of the villain and his idiot henchman. And it's a really interesting kind of, I don't know, it'd be fun. It would be revealing to take a look at that little scene where he says, so how did you sleep? Fine. Didn't hear anybody screaming in the night. Did you know? Yes, I did. I heard really horrible things. And who was it who said them? It was you, sir. No, it was your brother, sir.
Yeah. But I mean, there are bits of the comedy back and forth where I really like. I mean, it's just like really terrible gags, like when he just throws himself to the floor, and it was between 1 and 2. That's 3. I mean, they work. I mean, they're very perfectly well constructed jokes, and they come from so the comedy business. Even though, in a sense, it's subtle as a brick, it slips them in a way that's not sort of laboured and annoying in the way that so many clowns are, when it's like you've got the setup and then the payoff. Here, the payoff comes from nowhere, actually, because the setup is just hidden in dialogue. And that's really interesting structurally. Yes, and that's sort of hinting back to some earlier plays, sort of early Elizabethan plays, where you've got this villain and comedy sidekick sort of double act going on. It feels really quite old, but within it's also like someone said Henrico needs to be a proper villain now, and he needs to twirl his moustache a bit, and it's like that's quite uncomfortable as well, because it's like are we going to now dig in this direction? What is this play doing? Sarah.
Yeah. What is this play doing? I don't know. But I found that all that comedy business really interesting, actually, because quite often with this sort of comedy business, it's kind of it's there to be funny. You stuff it in, and it's just little interlude, little diversion. But this I actually felt worked really well from a psychological perspective, because Buzzano, knows what Henrico is like. And, he's his master. He can't do anything about that. So I really felt here like his humour wasn't just kind of, oh, here I am, I'm the clown, I'm doing my thing. It was him actually protecting himself and sort of testing the water and sort of trying to distract and divert his master in a very deliberate way, in order to kind of, take care of himself. And that whole thing with the oh, did you hear a voice last night? I think, I think that's meant to be confusing, because I think he's as confused by it as the audience are, because he's like, well, what's going on? And then he butters him up, and he kind of humors him and says, oh yeah, I heard of, oh yeah, your voice, oh no, your brother's, okay, whatever. Because he's aware that this is a really kind of quite dangerous and unbalanced person, and he's using the humor, as people often do in real life, as a as a shield. I'm also assuming that the whole reason Enrico came up with that little weird dream voice thing was in order to sort of lay a plot, to sort of set a scene that he can say to his servant after he's murdered his brother later on. He can say, oh well, my servant will tell you we heard him say that he was going to murder me, so I only acted in self-defense. I assume that's what's going on here. But yeah, just the kind of using the humor as a shield and a defense, rather than just because it's comedy and therefore it just is. I quite enjoyed.
I'll go to Lois, then Simon, then Eric.
Yeah. Well, what I think Enrico is doing, this really peculiar thing, is faking a confession made by somebody in his sleep as evidence. I mean, somebody's supposed to give evidence of having heard someone say that in a court of law. I mean, this is all going to go to trial at some point. We're going to have an extremely complicated trial scene, as far as I can see. I mean, since when we were reading it, neither of us knew where it was going. I mean, it could clearly be done much more like almost hypnosis or something, I mean, Enrico trying to sort of hypnotize Buzzano into the story that he wants him to tell. But it's extremely weird. I mean, you also are left thinking that Buzzano could really go in any direction. I mean, his behavior has suggested that he knows perfectly well what's right and wrong, and that he'd really prefer not to be doing the latter.
Well, the thing is, he's not Enrico's servant. He is their father's servant. Now that may be splitting hairs to some degree, but he seems to be on loan while his father's away. And of course, then this whole you murdered my father. What? He's dead. I mean, that's not going to take long to fall apart, surely.
Yeah.
He's not dead unless the players missed a scene. He's still alive and well and in Paris. It's just Anyway, we need to move on. Simon, then Eric.
I'll keep it real. I don't know. I was detecting a whiff of syphilis, because there's that whole thing about Frenchified, and a gentleman's not a gentleman unless he's been Frenchified, and I wondered if that could possibly explain anything. But I don't know. That occurred to me during that little fragment, especially with all this mania.
Eric.
Yeah, well, basically, I'm assuming that Henrico is going to depend on the law to sort of, condemn Manuell, and then, for murdering his father, which they haven't proved yet. But I mean, because he has the confession that heard by Buzzano, because he does say, "I will school you before you go to the court of Sherry's. I must school you. Yeah, you're coming, but I'm not right now. I'm going to tell you what to do first, and then." So I'm assuming what's going to happen is he's going to use that murder thing to distract from any rape or other accusation that is against him.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And the word law is used a lot in this play. It keeps cropping up. I notice it because I have to keep changing the capitalization. So I keep noticing the word law just keeps popping up again and again and again and again. And that's an interesting thread to potentially mine. Anyway, we must move on as we return back to the Dick plot, which frankly seems to have nothing to do with the plot we've just been looking at. Act 4, Scene 2. Enter Dick Pike shackled and his jailer.
Bon coraggio, man. How is't?
Not very well, and yet well enough, considering how the cheating dice of the world run.
I dare not, though I have a care of you, ease you of one iron, unless I desire such gyves myself.
Lass, if they were all knocked off, I'm loaden with gyves, shackles, and fetters enough for the arrantest thief that ever lay in my own country in Newgate.
Shackles, gyves, and feathers enough? I see none but these at your heels, which come on without a shoeing horn.
Yes, at my heart I wear them, a wife and children, my poor lambs at home. There's a chain of sighs and sobs and sorrow harder than any iron, and this chain is so long it reaches from Sherris to Tavistock in Devonshire.
Ooh, that's far enough in conscience.
Could I shake those chains off, I would cut capers. Poor Dick Pike would dance through death. Pip to him, yes, and spit in your hangman's face.
Yeah, not too much of that, neither. Some 2 days hence he will give you a choke pear, which spoil your spitting.
Phew.
Let me see, today is Sunday. Tomorrow the Lord's sit, and then I must have a care, a cruel care, to have your legs handsome, and a new clean rough band about your neck of old rusty iron. 'Twill purge your collar.
Aye, let it. Collars, halters, and hangmen are to me bracelets and friendly companions.
There's a knocking within.
So hasty? Stay my leisure.
Enter 2 friars.
2 friars come to prepare you.
Hail, countrymen, for we, though friars in Spain, were born in Ireland.
Reverend sir, y'are welcome. Too few such visitants, nay, none at all, have I seen in this damnable limbo.
Brother, take heed, does not misuse that word of limbo.
Brother Pike, for so we hear men call you, we are come in pure devotion and charity to your soul, being thereto bound by holy orders of our Mother Church.
What to do, pray, with me?
To point with our fingers out all such rocks, shells, quicksands, gulfs, and shallows lying in the sea through which you are to pass in the most dangerous voyage you e'er made, either by our care to set you safe on land, or if you fly from us, your heavenly pilots, sure to be wrapped forever.
What must I do?
Confess to one of us what rank and foul imposthumes have bred about your soul.
What leprosies have run o'er all your conscience?
What hot fevers now shake your peace of mind?
For we are come to cure your old corruptions.
We are come to be your true and free physicians.
Without the hope of gold to give you health.
To set you on your feet on the right way.
To Palestine, the New Jerusalem.
Say, will you unlock the closet of your heart to one of us? Choose which, and be absolved for all your black crimes on a free confession?
Him or me, for you must die tomorrow.
Welcome. Tomorrow shall I be in another country where are no examiners, nor jails, nor bolts, nor bars, nor irons. I beseech you, give me a little respite to retire into the next room, and I will instantly return to give you satisfaction.
Exit Dick.
Go, brother.
A goodly man.
Well-limbed and strong of heart.
Now, I well view his face, did we not two at our last being in Plymouth in disguise, when there the King of England rode about to see the soldiers in their musterings and what their arms were, just before this fleet set out. Did we not see him there?
Maybe we did. I know not. If he were there, 'tis now out of my memory.
Enter Dick Pike.
Are you resolved?
Yes.
To confess?
I have done already.
To whom?
To one who is in a better place, to one who is in better place and greater power than you to cure my sick infected part, though maladies as infinite as the sea sands, the grassy spears on earth, or as the drops of rain and stars in the firmament, stuck on me, he can clear all, cleanse me thoroughly.
You will not then confess?
No, I confess I will not.
We are sorry for you. For country's sake, this counsel do I give you. When you are before the lords, rule well your tongue. Be wary how you answer, lest they trip you. For they know the whole number of your ships, burthen, men, and munition, as well as you in England.
I thank you both.
Prepare to die.
Exeunt friars.
I will so. Prepare to die. An excellent bell, and it sounds sweetly. He that prepares to die rigs a goodly ship. He that is well prepared is ready to launch forth. He that prepares well and dies well arrives at a happy haven. Prepare to die. Preparation is the sauce, death the meat, my soul and body the guests, and to this feast will I go, boldly as a man, humbly as a Christian, and bravely as an Englishman. Oh, my children, my poor wife and children.
Sorry, I was so overcome. Enter Jailor and 3 Spanish Picaros chained.
Here is a cheerful morning towards my brave bloods.
Yes, Jailor, if thou wert to be hanged in one of our rooms.
On, the lords will sit presently.
What's he?
An Englishman.
A dog.
Devil.
Let's beat at his brains with our irons.
On, leave railing, cursing, and lying. Had you not run from the castle, the hangman and you had been hail fellow well met. On.
Crows
Peck out their eyes
English
out.
dog.
English
Cur,
dog, cur,
toad,
toad, hellhound.
Exit Picaros and Jailor.
Patience is a good armor. Humility is a strong headpiece. Would I had you all 3. I know where.
Enter Bustamente, shackled, and the Jailor.
Whither dost lead me?
To a room by yourself. 'Tis my office to have a care of my nursed children.
I have worn better Spanish gaiters. Thus rewarded for my service.
See, Captain Bustamente, do you know this fellow?
No.
The Englishman, brought prisoner into the city, and from thence hither.
Oh, Captain. I saw you at the fort perform the part of a man. Oh, sorry, shit, that's the wrong line. Sorry.
Don't steal his
Captain.
dick.
I saw you at the fort perform the part of a man.
And now thou seest me acting the part of a slave. Farewell, soldier. I did not hate thee at the first, though there we met at enemies. And if thou and I take our leaves at the gallows, prithee, let's part friends.
And a table out, sword and papers.
Come along, you two.
Hand in hand, if the captain please. Noble Bustamente, at the winning of the fort we had a brave breakfast.
True, but I doubt not we shall have worse cheer at dinner.
When was ever any meat well dressed in the hangman's kitchen?
And they exit. Oh, I mean, you know, that bit when he gets those friars, those 2 Irish friars. Where I'm starting to think, is it because that they can dig out their comedy Irish friar shtick? Didn't we have a whole load of Irish characters in the Stukely play? I seem to recall he arrives with some Irish characters. I'm just feeling that there's a sort of almost semi-generic link with previous things, rather than necessarily maybe in the source material. I don't know, but you know, I'm sure it's all definitely true. I'm sure Dick showed them what good Protestants like. Yeah, Aliki.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I was going to say. I bet in the autobiographical source material, he's like, and then there were some picaros and they made fun of me, but I didn't care. And there were some friars and they tried to get me to confess, but I'm a good Protestant, I am.
Yeah. I mean, it's all ridiculous stuff. I mean, I'm sure it's you know, it has some potential to it, but it's very hard to take it seriously, even if it was intended to be taken seriously. You know, you know, but you know, oh, whenever he brings up his wife and children as well, it feels more like a late 18th century, early 19th century melodrama. You know, I feel that the da 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 it just plays in the background. It's all very sad. Simon.
Did our man Richard play the title role by any chance?
Probably not. No, but. I tell you what, they probably gave him the part of Soldier Number 5. Because Soldier Number 5 had a great death scene, and you know what? I think he could have carried that off. I think he could have said, really well. That was last session. That was his line. He said it twice. And he got to cradle him in his arms. So yeah, happy days. Okay, massive scene coming up. The doubling, which may not have made much sense until now. Hopefully will stand up to this challenge as we go forward. I'm the clerk, aren't I? Yes, I am. Okay, Act 4, Scene 3. Enter Fernando, bareheaded, talking with the Duke of Macada. Duke Giron, who we've not met before either. Medina, the Marquis de Alquevezzes. Two gents, one with Dick Pike's sword, which is laid on a table. I suspect that's where the stage direction from the previous scene is referring to. Jailor, Teniente, and clerk with papers.
Where's the Teniente?
The Duke calls for you.
Here, my lord.
'Tis the king's pleasure that those fugitives which basely left the fort should not be honoured with a judicial trial, but presently, both those who have at home and those in Cherise, to die by martial law.
My lord, I'll see it done.
Dispatch the rest here.
Yes, my lord. I'll bring them carefully together to end the business.
We have a Giron. Who's Giron? Who did I give Giron to? Did I give anyone to? Did I give Giron away? No. I didn't. Okay, I'll read Giron. It's a deep part. Bring Bustamente in. Exit Jailor.
My lords, his Don Fernando relates to me two stories full of wonder. One of his daughter, famed for her virtues, fair Eleonora, accusing Don Henrico, youngest son to noble Pedro Gusman, of a rape. Another of the same Henrico's charging his elder brother Manuell with the murder of Pedro Gusman, who went late to France.
Are all the parties here?
Yes.
Exit Fernando. Enter Jailor, Bustamente, and guard. Bring them in.
Bustamente, the king, our master, looking with sharp eyes upon your traitorous yielding up the fort, puts off your trial here. You must abide longer imprisonment.
I have already quitted myself, my lord, of that which you call treason, which had in any here, he doing the like, been a high point of honour.
These braves cannot serve you.
You must not be your own judge.
You gave the English more glory by your basic noble rendering that fought up then our nation got from them in all our undertakings.
Hear me, my lords?
Sir, we have other anvils. Bustamente, prepare yourself for death.
For all my service.
Take him away!
You are lions, and I your prey.
Exit Bustamente with Jailor.
Which are Don Pedro's sons?
Enter Fernando, Henrico, and Manuell.
These two.
Which the youngest?
Aye, my lord.
Enter Jailor.
You charge this gentleman, your elder brother, with murder of your father.
Which I can prove.
And hither flies a ravished lady's voice to charge you with a rape. The wronged daughter of this most noble gentleman.
Let them prove that.
These accusations and the proof shall meet here face to face in the afternoon. Meantime, pray, Don Fernando, let it be your care to see these gentlemen attended on by a strong guard.
The wrongs done to myself work me, my lord, to that.
I would your grace would hear me speak a little.
You shall have time.
Who's Medina? I definitely get. Oh, that's Aliki as well.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
I beg your pardon.
Doesn't say a lot.
Take them away, and at their trial, have the lady here.
Exeunt Fernando, Henrico, Manuell, and Jailor. Where is the Englishman? The Englishman!
What do you call him? Dick of Devonshire? Because he is a soldier, let him have a soldier's honour. Bring him from his prison full in the face of the whole town of Cherise with drums and muskets.
How many soldiers are in the town?
5,000.
Let 200 march hither along with him as his guard. Where's the Teniente?
Here, my lord.
Pray see this done and in good order.
I shall.
Exit Teniente. Enter Don John below. What makes John there? Oh, now I remember. You come against the Englishman.
Yes, my lord.
Enter his lady, Catelina, and a gentlewoman above.
Give me the note there of the English advertisements.
They all confer.
Here may we see and hear. Poor Englishman! Sadness! I cast on thee a noble pity, a pity mixed with sorrow that my husband has drawn him to this misery, to whom the soldier gave life, being at his mercy.
Oh, ‘twas
Yes,
bravely done. No doubt he'll speed the better for his mind.
I visited him in prison, and did with much ado win from Don John this journey, for I vowed to see the event, how they will deal with him.
I hope most fairly.
Enter 2 drums, Teniente, diverse muskets, Fernando with Dick Pike without band, an iron about his neck, 2 chains manacling his wrists, a great chain about his heels. Jailor, 3 or 4 halberts, a bar set out. Silence!
You see how much our Spanish soldiers love you to give this brave attendance, though your nation fought us and came to hunt us to our deaths.
My lords, this, which in true is brave attendance and love to me, is the world's posture right, where one man's falling down sets up another. My sorrows are their triumphs, so in king's courts when officers are thrust out of their rooms, others leap laughing in while they do mourn. I am at your mercy.
Sirrah Englishman, know you that weapon? Reach at him.
Yes, it was once mine, and draws tears from me to think how 'twas forced from me.
How many Spaniards killed you with that sword?
Had I killed one, this bar had ne'er been guilty of my pleading before such princely judges. There stands the man.
Don John, set he on you, or you on him?
He upon me first.
Let me then be torn into 1,000 pieces.
My husband speaks untruth.
Said he on you first. More coward you to suffer an enemy beforehand.
Indeed, in England my countrymen are good at bidding stand, but I was not now upon a robbery but a defence, set round with 1,000 dangers. He set upon me. I had him at my feet, saved him, and for my labour was after basely hurt by him.
This was examined by me, my lords. Don John, thus accused, was much ashamed of his unmanly dealing.
He may be now so.
I blush for him myself.
Disgrace to Spaniards.
Sirrah, you English, what was the ship you came in?
The Convertine.
What ordnance did you carry?
40 pieces.
No, sir, but 38. See here, my lord.
Right, no more than 38.
Your fort at Plymouth strong?
Yes, very strong.
What ordnance in it?
50 pieces.
Oh, fie, do not belie your country. There's not so many.
How many soldiers keep you in that fort?
200.
Much about such a number. There is a little island before Plymouth. What strength is that of?
I do not know.
We do, then.
Is Plymouth a walled town?
Yes, it is walled.
And a good wall?
A very good strong wall.
'Tis true, a good strong wall, and built so high, one with a leap staff may leap over it.
Why, did not your good nephew being in such bravery as it took Puntal seize Carles?
Our general might easily have taken it, for he had almost 1,000 scaling ladders to set up, and without main to his army he might lose 1,000 men, but he was loath to rob an almshouse when he had a richer market to buy a conquest in.
What was that market?
Genoa or Lisbon, wherefore should we venture our lives to catch the wind, or to get knocks and nothing else?
They consult.
A post with speed to Lisbon, and see it well manned.
One shall be sent, my lord.
Exit Teniente. The soldiers laugh.
No. Why is this laughter?
One of the soldiers, being merry among themselves, is somewhat bold with the English and says they are dainty hens.
Hens!
Sirrah, view well these soldiers and freely tell us, think you these will prove such hens as are your English when next year they land in your own country?
I think they will not, my lord, prove hens, but somewhat near to hens.
How mean'st thou?
Let my speech breed no offence. I think they would prove pullets.
Darest thou fight with any one of these, our Spanish pullets?
What heart have I to fight when 'tis beaten flat to earth with sad afflictions? Can a prisoner glory in playing the fencer? My life's at stake already. Can I put it in for more? Our army was some 14,000 men, of which more than 12,000 had spirits so high, mine never shall come near them. Would some of them were here to feed your expectations. Yet, silly as I am, having fair pardon from all your graces and your greatnesses, I'll try if I have strength in this chained arm to break a rapier.
Knock off all his gyves, and he that has a stomach for Spain's honoured combat with this Englishman appear.
May he be never called an Englishman that dares not look a devil in the face. Come he in face of man, come how he can.
One steps forward.
Your name?
Tiago.
Well done, Tiago! That's all. Can we try that again?
Well done, Tiago.
Sorry. Let drums beat all the time they fight.
Catelina.
Sorry. I pray for thee.
And I.
They fight. Grr, arg, Dick Pike disarms and trips him down.
Only a Devonshire hug, sir. At your feet I lay my winnings.
Diable.
Exit Tiago, biting his thumb. The soldiers stamp. Wilt venture on another?
I beseech you to pardon me, and task me to do no more.
Come, one more. Look you here, here's a young cockerel comes growing into the pit.
Another steps in.
Hey,
Fight with him!
I am in the lion's grip, and to get from him there's but one way. That's death.
English, what say you? Will you fight or no?
I'll fight.
Macada!
I'll fight till every joint be cut in pieces to please such brave spectators. Yes, I'll fight while I can stand. Be you but pleased, my lords, the noble dukes here, to allow me choice of my own country weapon.
Oh!
What? Quarterstaff. This were the head off.
Off with the head and room! How dost thou like this Spaniard?
Well, he's welcome. Here's my old trusty friend. Are there no more? One? What? But one? Why, I shall make no play, no sport before my princely judges with one. More sacks to the mill. Come, another! What? No more?
How many wouldst thou have?
Any number under 6.
Mad!
Just cope with 3?
Where are they? Let them show their faces. So, welcome.
How dost thou like these chickens?
When I have dressed them with sorrel sops, I'll tell you.
Now guard him, heaven.
And drums. They fight. Grr, arg, grr, arg. And one is killed and the other two disarmed. Oh, look, the musket men are back. Oh, great. Hell, take thy quarterstaff. Pox on thy quarters.
The matter? Why this noise?
Noise within, all together now.
Diable,
Diable.
The soldiers stamp and stare and swear to cut his throat, for all the jailers care of him.
Make proclamation, my lord Fernando, that whosoever dares but touch his finger to hurt him dies.
I will, sir.
Exit Fernando.
This is done nobly.
Here, give him this gold.
And this.
Macada gives you this gold.
All together now.
And this.
The Duke of Medina this, Duke Garrett this, and look you, the Marquise Alquevezzes as much as all the rest.
Where's any of my men? Give him your cloak, sirrah. Fetch him clean band and cuffs. I embrace thee, pike, and hug thee in my arms. Scorn not to wear a Spanish livery.
Oh, my lord, I am proud of it.
He shall be with a convoy sent to the king.
4 of my gentlemen shall along with him. I'll bear thy charges, soldier, to Madrid. 5 pieces of 8 a day in travel, and lying still thou shalt have half that.
On my knees, your vassal thanks heaven, you, and these princes.
Break up the court till afternoon, then the 2 Gusman's trial.
Coming with him. We honor valor, thus our loves express. Thou hast a guard of dukes and marquesses.
And they exuent. And okay.
Dear
This was
sweet-
the play I was in for. This is the play I was promised. This is the play I was coming for. This is where the play ends. I know there's Act 5 to go, but you know what? And there may be some more Dick stuff in Act 5. But you know, this is the play. This is the play. And so yeah, all of that. I love this. You know, were the head off? Has he just been handed a broom and he's just knocked the end off? He's just gone. These are my friends. Just got trusty quarter staff. Yeah, that's me, and he does his Robin Hood
Yes.
Little John impression. Okay, and it's great. It's like 6 against 1, and you know he's really tired. How about 3? 3, well, 3, higher, lower, higher, lower. So I mean. Yeah, this is. I mean, for all the ridiculous propaganda elements of this element of the play, it is just dumb, isn't it? It's really hard to take. I agree. The Spanish ambassador may disagree with me on this point, but I think it must be really hard to take offence from this kind of utter nonsense, because you can't take this seriously. It's this is pure sort of 1980s action montage sequence here, and I'm there for that. Thoughts from the room? I'll go to Simon, then Lois.
I'm still struck by the imagery of this prisoner having a guard of honor, like Cleopatra being held captive by Caesar. Does anyone know of any historical precedents where that happened? In the early modern period, anyway.
Not really. I mean, I'm sure there are occasions where people have gone, "This is such a noble guy," but you know, no. Is basically the answer. Because it's fun. And I keep saying, what a guy. I think that's just basically what this is, because everyone just loves him.
It's Lord Flashheart.
Yeah. Well, no, I was going to say it's Ace Rimmer. Anyway, that's aging us very nicely there. Lois.
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe this and Stukely, scenes from both could be in some sort of show called Heroic Englishmen in Spain, or they don't make them like that anymore, or something.
Well, I say, I mean, it's not a long play, a desperately long play as it stands. If you cut out the unpleasant plot, you've got this, lots of fight scenes, straight through without an interval, bish bash bosh. It kind of works. It's just the fact that it's wedded to a totally unsuitable subplot that just is, I mean, just it's not very helpful. So final thoughts. I was going to say for the whole play, I don't know how much Dick does in Act 5, but I suspect he doesn't do a lot. And yeah. And it's all true because it's all out of his own personal memoir. He took out the Spanish single-handed. He did. I don't know why I've suddenly gone Cockney for someone from Devonshire, but never mind. Yeah. Any final thoughts anyone wants to throw in? Again, I'm not going to go around the room because I'm just going to see who waves. Anyone? I am curious. I will say the other plot is quite well integrated in its own universe. And is, if you want to do a show on those themes, there is material there that is actually very, very well structured. I'm just not particularly in the mood to do a horrible play about sexual assault. But if you wanted to, the material there is viable actually in terms of making points that you could do something with. And maybe in performance there is a route through all of this. I've been surprised before by how plays function. I don't believe it for a second what I've just said, but maybe it is. Anyway, I think Eric waved, and then Lois, and then Alan.
I mean, this is basically Zorro things, isn't it? It's like, look, I am a prisoner. I have been treated unjustly by the state. But now, obviously, he's from Devonshire, so you have to do it in a Devonshire accent, not a Spanish one, without the Spanish flair. Yeah, I don't know. It's just what on earth is like when we started reading, I was like, what on earth is going on in this play?
Well, in a sense, nothing happens in this plot. No. He arrives, he gets captured, he's terribly honourable, and then they say bye. We'll let you off after a fight. I mean, in a sense, there isn't a plot there. There are some things happen. It's not complicated, which is interesting. Lois.
Yeah, in a way, I can't really tell until we see how these characters behave in Act 5 because there are so many surprises. But I would also have thought that Buzzano would be interesting in some sequence about clown characters. He strikes me as quite interesting at the moment, just because he's also completely implicated in that horrible plot, and I just wonder what he's going to do.
Yeah, I mean that is actually, yeah. I'm very curious about that. About how does that plot line develop and end? I mean, I don't see how it can end well. Certainly from our point of view, with the options we got here. But you never know; they might all kill each other. I mean, it's not really a comedy in that sense. So structurally, it doesn't necessarily have to end happily. That stuff. As long as Dick ends happily, it's all fine. He's got to end happily. He wrote the book. Yeah. He can't die. It's not in his contract. Alan.
I just wonder whether there was a pre-existing playlet, which is the Gusman business, and they realised it just wasn't long enough to run a show with. And then they fortuitously picked up this pamphlet and did a very light job of dramatising on it, and then tried to splinch the two together.
I definitely think the two plots come from totally different places. The subplot does come from something. I do have a source for that. I haven't followed up on it because I don't care. But I think you're right in the sense that a decision was made to say, well, this pamphlet isn't long enough for a whole play. Yeah. Whether I don't think it was necessarily a pre-existing thing. It may have been, or it may have started. I would have thought the pamphlet was the starting point for this show, and then they needed a subplot to flesh it out. I think that's the way round. But it's impossible to tell. As I say, and we might look at we will look at the source material for the B plot at some point, but I need to look into that a little bit more. That's a future job for a future me when future me cares enough to do it. Eric, then Lois.
Well, wasn't there a point at which the Spanish and English basically became friends historically? So it's kind of like, well, no, we can't talk about killing Spaniards anymore. So it has to be like
yeah, that ended about 2 years prior to this. This play.
Yeah. So it's like we kind of have to be cautious about it, but not very much because.
Ooh.
Or maybe they do, but. Yeah, it's just it strikes me as one of those, oh, look, I killed so many, but actually I didn't because I wasn't, I was so proud to wear the Spanish livery and all that stuff. So it's just kind of, when Alquevezzes goes, scorn not to wear a Spanish livery, and Dick goes, I'm proud of it. I imagine that if that was performed during Elizabeth's time, that would have been actual treason. As opposed to later in his reign, and Charles's reign as well.
I got the sense he was sending them up, but we'll find out, I guess, in the next 10 pages with that, because that would be a contentious thing to say.
Lois.
Yeah, yes, I'd wondered about that too. But I was thinking that they do try to tie the two plots together. I mean, there's that bit where I think it's Fernando who says that while the English behaved better, they didn't rape our women when they were here before, and this time, while they were besieging us, it was actually a Spaniard who committed rape. And then there's also a rather odd bit where Buzzano asks for a reward for bringing good news, and I think the phrase the word albricias came into English around this time. I've seen it used in some play of the 20s or 30s. I think they became fashionable to learn some Spanish after the peace treaty in 1604-5, whatever it was. And I mean, when you read Spanish drama, people are always coming in and saying, "Give me albricias because I'm bringing you." In other words, I'm bringing good news. There's a sort of reward for the bringer of good news. So I was interested that they were, trying to stick in something typically Spanish there. So there is some idea. Well, at least we've got two stories about Spain. Let's tie them together.
Yes. Okay. Well, we've got one more session to just do Act 5, so it will be relatively short. And we may in a separate session look at the source material, or some of the source material, to the A plot, if we can call it that, the Dick plot, as it were. Unless anyone else has any burning final thoughts they want to throw into the mix, all that remains, thank all the wonderful readers for all their wonderful reading. Thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye. How dost thou like these chickens?